Salutations, motherfuckers! It's been a while, hasn't it? Oops! Sorry! So what do we have to talk about here? Let's see.
Salutations, denizens of the internet. I'm Firebite27, and Stop Motion Reviewer has basically asked me to share my thoughts on what I think we should do in Transformers Generations, not just Legacy, but also in lines coming after that. And quite frankly, I don't want to see any more G1 in the sense that we should never make another figure of any character from the first two seasons of the show and the 1986 movie.
Shut the fuck up!
Mostly because I think that we've basically exhausted the well of those characters, and the figures that we do have are good enough that I don't want them to make another version. I still think that we should do some G1. Maybe bring in characters that came afterwards, like Sandstorm, maybe some of the Pretenders, like Iguanus was really good. But I really just like to see more than just 1984 to 1986. And on top of that, let's bring in some characters from other continuities. Let's do some characters from Beast Wars that weren't in the show. Let's do some Transmetals, and also why not a few more Fusors. On top of that, why don't we do some characters from Beast Machine? On top of that, let's go to RID 2001. Let's make new figures of those characters with slightly cleaned up designs and also simpler transformations, while also adding in new articulation that brings them up to modern standards. And while we're at it, please, for the love of God, make some more good figures of Unicron Trilogy characters. The Unicron Trilogy is one of the most disrespected parts of this franchise, and these designs are amazing and deserve better figures. It's too disrespected by the community for no other reason than the American dub was kinda crappy. I've seen what you're doing with Override. I love it. Please do more. Thank you.
But if there were ever a figure in existence that was able to prove people wrong, I think it would definitely have to be Transformers Legacy Prime Universe Bulkhead. Bulkhead's a character in Transformers that does not get the representation that he deserves. A clumsy yet lovable chonktastic lad with an affliction for either building or wrecking the fucking fuck out of shit. Bulkhead was particularly lovable in Transformers Prime, at least in my opinion. Now, this new Legacy figure had an astronomical godsend from the heavens to live up to, because the first edition figure of Transformers Prime was the last Bulkhead we really got, aside from the RID 2015 version that I refuse to mention exists in this household. I love how people are complaining about how this Bulkhead doesn't do what it's supposed to do by looking like a Prime Bulkhead, but they'll gladly defend the RID 2015 version, which actually bastardized the look of the character. So can I honestly sit here and have the sheer nerve, the audacity to go here and suggest that this new Legacy version lives up to this title? You're goddamn fucking right that I can! This version of Bulkhead turns into a boxy military vehicle reminiscent of Age of Extinction Hound, and I don't honestly think there could have been a more fucking boom time reimagining of what Bulkhead's vehicle mode would be in G1. I love the boxy yet bulbous cab of the truck that looks both kinda chibi and short and gigantic and militaristic at once. The giant robo dipshit fists on the inside of the windows almost look like seats. And if you told me there was a car where the seats were just robot fists, I'd probably sell my soul to the friggin' devil to make it happen. Crush my ass, you magnificent militaristic fuck. The one issue I have with the front of the vehicle mode is the fact there's this black tab on the top that closes off the vehicle mode, and if you so much as touch it the wrong way, it's basically impossible to get it open again to cover up the top without some kind of thin tool to get it out. That's what she said, lol, funny meme. The entire front of the vehicle mode is painted with like 3 layers of green, but the dipshits just couldn't resist the urge to make the entire front of the cab out of clear friggin' plastic! Which actually feels durable for a change.
Yeah, baby!
There's no moving parts that put the cab under a lot of stress or anything, but it still gives me this sense of existential dread that something's gonna happen to it sooner or later that's gonna cause the whole fucking thing to explode. The cool part about the back of the vehicle mode is not only the part that the top looks like fitted cloth from one side and folds up into a shield that looks like solid metal, but the absolutely hilarious Bulkhead as fuck style of weapon storage, where he just shoves them into his vehicle mode right near his dick like a WWE Super Slam Giga Chad, and then just scrunches his toes up a little to hide the fact that there's a giant wrecking ball and Gatling gun hiding under his... You can have a semi-cohesive vehicle mode without the tarp, but it looks kind of dumb as shit in the process. The part that genuinely annoys me though is the way the fuel canisters and the entire hinge that the torso's connected to have to line up perfectly at 3 different tabs that all collide with each other in a different direction. So it can be a giant pain in the ass to get the front and back end of the vehicle mode lined up the right way. I had to say, I really thought Bulkhead's transformation was going to be this basic, simple, formulaic, boring-ass snooze fest like Earthrise Grapple, but I have to say, the predictability is actually the best part of this transformation. I love the way the fuel canisters rotate into the back of the legs, but the torso hinges that clip the torso into place are super thin and tight to move. The full wheels are pretty much just an extra step to hide the dipshit cube tuck and roll motion of having the entire chest explode around the back with his arms coming out of nowhere to create what is a gloriously dumb wrecking ball fist swearing absolute wrecking machine that manages to be just absurdly lovable.
Damn, boy, he's sick!
Just check this shit out. I love the look of his head sculpt. I don't know what it is, but something about the way his eyes are shaped and the way they're colored makes him look so expressive and alive. As for the chest, well, I've heard of barrel-chested, but never box-chested. Now his J-cup cab in proportion to his limbs looks a lot worse in stock imagery than it does in real life. I really thought his arms and legs were going to be incredibly lanky and 80% of his mass was just going to be in his chest, but it's actually surprisingly well distributed throughout the figure. But the real star of the show is his thighs right here, man. Not just because I want them to squash my head like a grape, but because of the goddamn glorious shade of metallic silver they used to finish them off. I thought because they were shiny paint, they'd never be durable enough to last, but I've transformed this thing about 60 times, and there's just zero visible paint chipping on anything here, and that absolutely rules that the cosmetics are that durable. I had to say, too, the joint stability and durability is positively ludicrous on this thing. The only thing that even thinks about moving on it when I shake the daylight out of it are the knees, and they're still durable enough to be insanely stable and absolutely rock balls in the process. And just check out the absurd shit these absolute skyscraper strength biceps can do. You can literally put on his wrecking ball, his shield, attach a whole friggin' cog with the weapons to it, and go apeshit in the best way possible without him so much as compromising his form. The articulation on this thing is absolutely spectacular, too. Not only does it have all the modern joints of a modern bulkhead, but it moves like a bulkhead, you know what I mean? Like, he looks so friggin' hardcore in basically any pose you can think of. He's super heavy-duty, and pinned together at every bodily orifice you can think of. The joints are so well-balanced and durable, they all move like butter, and the overall balance between tolerances is so goddamn good to handle. This figure is like absolute hand candy, and I love the feel of the plastic on this thing. It's some hardcore shit that you can through Adam's duty do this shit hardcore down a flight of stairs to death metal where you fuck around and find out that this is a kick-ass figure. After all the absolutely bullshit-ass hate that Legacy got from boomers before it was even fully out on store shelves, can we really sit here and complain about a figure like this? This really does feel like the Classics Bulkhead that was meant to be a precursor to the one that we got in Prime, that's finally gotten released to the plebs and the masses. And if you can get past the whole Prime Universe title as being the die-hard, perfect carbon copy of that Bulkhead, and just call it a whole new take on the character, living up to a legacy of being a stupidly fun, lumpy little dipshit box on wheels with a lovable, dangerous idiot charisma that I absolutely live for, then you're gonna have a friggin' expensive party in the process of buying this figure. And despite the price increases forcing me to donate my kidneys in the black market to afford this barren hellscape of world that we live in, paying $31.49 instead of $29.99 retail honestly feels like it would be worth it. The build quality, paint, joints, weapons count, engineering, transformation, and overall fun makes this figure worth every penny. Pick this bad bitch up, because I'm not giving you a choice.
Behold, Galvatron.